Assalamu alaikum Humanites. Wow, what a great weekend this has been. Thank you so much for your enthusiastic participation. It has really made the event so memorable. Before we move on to the grand finale, I'd like to thank a few people who've really helped us with this entire event and who've worked really tirelessly for putting everything together. So starting with the IST team, the media team, the staff and faculty, and the Vice Chancellor Dr. Arshad Ahmed, I'd like to thank all of these people for their support at various stages of the event. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank all the members of the advancement team for putting the entire event together in such a short time. And of course, a huge shout out to all of you for participating and making the event a success. Next year, inshallah, we hope to see you on campus. Till then, stay safe and healthy. All the best. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the keynote address of LUMS Homecoming 2021. We are honored and we are proud to have with us today Dr. Azra Raza, and she'll talk about getting lit with Faiz. और जो मुख्तसर जिम्मेदारी मुझे सौंपी गई उनके तारुफ की, ये काम मुश्किल और बहुत मुश्किल के कहीं बीच में है। मुश्किल इसलिए कि डॉक्टर अजरा का तारुफ कोई क्या कराए, और बहुत मुश्किल इसलिए कि फैज साहब के बारे में हमारी क्या जुर्रत कि हम कुछ कह सकें। फैज साहब के बारे में शायद जहां इतनी किताबें लिखी जा चुकी हैं, एक जुमला और लिखा जाना चाहिए, और वो ये है कि हम आप जिनको अपनी जुबान पर, अपने मुल्क पर, अपनी तहजीब पर, अपनी तारीख पर इतना फख्र है, हमारी तारीख, हमारी तहजीब, हमारी जुबान, हमारा मुल्क फैज साहब पर नाज करता है। और डॉक्टर अजरा रजा के दो तारुफ हैं, ये गालिबन कुछ अहम और रिवायती और दूसरा अहम और गैर रिवायती। उनका रिवायती तारुफ तो ये होगा कि शी इज अ मेडिकल डॉक्टर, अ रिनाउंड ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट at the MDS Center at Columbia University. She sees 30 to 40 patients of cancer a week, and yet she has time to study and write books. She does lots of research and runs a basic research lab. Her book called The First Cell and the Human Costs of Pursuing Cancer is available in Pakistan. LUMS के जो alumni हैं, we request, we urge and we encourage you to buy a copy of this book and donate it to a medical student in Pakistan. Dr. Azra receives no royalties. आपका दिल अगर इस मुल्क के लिए धड़कता है तो एक काम ये जरूर कीजिए कि उनकी एक किताब खरीदकर एक मेडिकल स्टूडेंट को जरूर दे दीजिए। जो गैर रवायती तारुफ है डॉक्टर अजरा का, वो कुछ ऐसे है कि उनका जो अदबी ज़ौक़ है उसकी मिसाल नहीं मिलती। हम और हमारे जैसे बहुत सारे साथी जो उनके मद्दाह हैं, हम जब भी उनको किसी फोरम के ऊपर उनको बोलते हुए सुनते हैं, कोई टॉक सुनते हैं उनकी, हमारे अंदर अपने आप को बेहतर करने की, जुबान सीखने की, अदब सीखने की एक तहरीक पैदा होती है। शायद इसकी वजह यह है कि उनके पास जो मसीहाई का गुर है वो उनके पेशे की वजह से है। और वो क्या शेर है फैज साहब का कि एक बार और मसीहाए दिले दिल ज़द्गां, कोई वादा कोई इकरार मसीहाई का। We are honored and proud and privileged to have with us today Dr. Azra Raza.
Greetings to the LUMS alumni. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you this evening. I must admit, it feels a little surreal to imagine that while all of you can see me speaking from my home in New York, I cannot even begin to imagine where you're all signing in from. You're likely spread across oceans with unique time zones. These meetings we engage in these days, they're not exactly what they appear to be. In a way, this is more or less the theme of my talk tonight, the deceptions we deal with, we live with. Let me begin by telling you a very New York story. The Pope arrived in JFK some years ago to address the United Nations. Well, unfortunately, his flight was delayed. He panicked. But then he had a brilliant idea. He called his aide and said, "Look, I'm ditching my limo. Please get me a taxi with a Pakistani driver. He's the only one who can get me to the UN on time." His party was shocked, but the Pope was adamant. And in minutes, he was speeding on the highway in just such a cab. From the back seat, the Pope urged the driver to go faster and faster, but Mr. Shahab Khan from Lahore was not willing to break the speed limit. So the Pope finally ordered Mr. Khan to sit in the back seat, and he took the wheel himself, started speeding on the highway. In about 5 minutes, the expected happened. He lost control of the car and it crossed the shoulder, landed in a ditch. The police promptly arrived on the scene, and the rookie officer took one look at the occupants of the cab and he called headquarters and he said, "You guys are never going to believe who's involved in an accident." "Who?" said the headquarters. "Well, think of the most famous person you know." "Mr. Trump," they said. No, even more famous, the rookie officer said. "More famous than Mr. Trump in America? We give up. Who is it?" At this point, the rookie police officer scratched his head and said, "Well, I don't know the name yet, but he's so famous that the Pope was driving him." Deceptions, things not looking what they are supposed to be. So let us use a gorgeous ghazal by Faiz Ahmed Faiz, who uses deceptively minimalist discourse to diagnose the fundamental isolating terrors that deprive us as a collective humanity of thinking, of loving, of acting in the world. कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से. Many times for them, I filled the lap with beauty of the two worlds. कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से. Faiz Saab is terribly vague in this line. Clearly, he wants to provide the most precious thing available in the universe to someone's daman. Whose daman? And why did he place beauty above all else? Why not love? Because husn or beauty is a more exalted form of love. To answer why, we need to go back to our Ehsani tradition. The word ihsan has many meanings, the root being husn, but it's understood more as a virtue. I read the ihsani tradition to suggest that the surface, what we can see, the outer beauty, is grossly undervalued. Everything that's beautiful on the inside of a person will somehow, in my opinion, always be reflected on the outside. The emphasis then is on making one's heart and soul beautiful so that the beauty will rise naturally from within. Through word or deed, the face will reflect the mind. Anything that makes the soul beautiful makes the person beautiful. Love is one of these things that provide this magnificence, this glory. The cultivation of beautiful traits will ultimately lead to the insights that must accompany the eyesight for real joy to be experienced. Now, despite all of this, even the attainment of the highest virtue of beauty, कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से, Faiz brings us to the stunning announcement in the second line. कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से, मगर दिल है कि इसकी खाना वीरानी नहीं जाती. Yet the heart's lonely, deserted, existential vacuum persists. Well, this is the anguish, the torment, the angst at the heart of humanity's existence that Faiz warns us about. This opening sher declares unequivocally that there will be no calm of consummation, no matter how many deep aesthetic virtues we acquire. Beauty, love, goodness. The trouble is that he falls silent after this disturbing statement. Magar dil hai ki iski khana veerani nahi jati. His trick is to now lay the burden of thinking things through upon the reader. He makes the poem reader intensive. He is forcing us to start our independent investigation into finding the answer to the existential dread on our own. He challenges us to explore boldly, enter the fourth and the fifth and the 30th dimension in search of satisfaction. Part of Faiz Saab's art, his charm, his magic, is the purity of his line that does not say too much. Yet the syntactically rich verse is packed, taut, resonant with meaning. One of my favorite artists in New York was Zarina Hashmi, a remarkable woman that I got to know at a personal level as a friend. Zarina uses this sher in a series of lithographs and describes it in an interview as follows. In Santa Cruz, there was once a beautiful sunset on Monterey Bay. The lights going up, twilight, it was so beautiful. And then I thought of Faiz's Kai baar uska daman bhar diya husne do alam se. And then the Misra, magar dil hai ki iski khana veerani nahi jati. I'd like to share my screen now and show you the lithograph. This is what Zarina Hashmi painted. Magar dil hai ki iski khana veerani nahi jati. Ghazal is a poem where each couplet is essentially an independent poem. There are few prominent examples of ghazals that break this overarching structure, this tradition, and they maintain at the very least a thematic cohesion. You know the famous one by Ghalib, वो फिराक और वो विसाल कहाँ, वो शबो रोजो माहो साल कहाँ, थी बस एक शख्स के तसव्वुर से, अब वो रानाए ये ख्याल कहाँ. इतना आसान नहीं लहू रोना, दिल में ताकत जिगर में हाल कहाँ. फुर्सते कारोबार शौक किसे, ज़ौक़ नज़ारे जमाल कहाँ. दिल तो दिल वो दिमाग भी न रहा, शोर सौदाए खत तो खाल कहाँ. हमसे छूटा कुमार खाना इश्क रे, वहां जो जाए गिरा में माल कहाँ. फिक्र दुनिया में सर खपाता हूँ मैं कहाँ, और ये वबाल कहाँ. मुज़महिल हो गए क़वा गालिब, अब अनासिर में एतदाल कहाँ. See the thematic cohesion where Ghalib is mourning the loss of a certain vitality that goes away with youth. The shocking thing is he wrote this amazing poem when he was probably 17 years old. I'm going to show you that there's a certain narrative unity in the ghazal we are discussing by Faiz Saab. Each couplet in this ghazal also addresses another aspect of the same conundrum, eventually ending up with Faiz Saab providing a solution. So his canvas may have opened with large-scale meditations on the vacuum created by the existential angst, But in the next share, he moves into an exquisite miniaturization of detail. कई बार इसकी खातिर जर्रे जर्रे का जिगर चीरा. Many times for them, I dissected the elements to its atomic depth. With that first line, he enters the world of subatomic particles, the realm of quantum mechanics where Newtonian laws no longer apply, a universe of cellular biology and genetics where the microscope reveals a trillion molecules floating around in a single cell. Let's think for a minute about the difference between curiosity and wonder. While curiosity or tajassus seeks explanation for things, wonder or herani creates a sense of awe by turning on its head what we think we already know. Faiz sets us up with this line, Kai baar iski khatir zarre zarre ka jigar chira, and then delivers the zinger. Magar ye chashme हैरान जिसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती. Yet the wonder of the sight is never satisfied. What a profound statement. Once again, pointing to the enigma of incompletion. The point he makes is that the more you know, the more mysterious things become. The farther you go out into the sea, the deeper it gets. And the deeper we dive into the microcosm, the more profound the macrocosm becomes. The infinitude, the wonder of knowledge could not be better expressed, better described, except, of course, by the great master, Ghalib, who says something very similar. है गैब गैब जिसको समझते हैं हम शहूद. The deep decorum of the hidden is misread as revelation. We think we have understood this, the hidden. है गैब गैब जिसको समझते हैं हम शहूद, है ख्वाब में हनूज जो जागे हैं ख्वाब में. The clairvoyant lost in dreams, dreams he's awake. So when we think we really know something, the reality is it's like the dream where we think woke up, but we are dreaming that we woke up. In fact, we are still asleep. You know, last year I received a very sweet email from a total stranger, Miss Walia Hassan, who had a curious request. She says, my son does not have a good grasp of Urdu, but loves its beauty of script as well as poetic style, both in conversation and in lyrics. He's 22 years old and wants to get a tattoo in Urdu. She said, this doesn't mean I agree with the idea of getting a tattoo, but he asked me to translate the following line from the movie Lord of the Rings. There's some good in this world and it's worth fighting for. Dr. Raza, I hope you can find a sher or help me translate this line. Well, for one thing, I understood her pain about children wanting tattoos. So I suggested the Ghalib Misra, haan bhala kar tera bhala hoga. Well, she wrote back saying, Dr. Raza, to my surprise, my son picked the line, bol ke lab azad hain tere. But then she went on to say, Dr. Raza, your recital of poetry has inspired me to create different items with embroidered Urdu poetry. Due to COVID situation, I have more time on my hands. So combining poetry, sewing, and embroidery calms me. I would like to mail one of the pieces to you as a token of my appreciation. I selected this sher for the research work you do. May you find the cure for cancer and continue your research further. How beautiful. Let me share my screen now and show you what she sent me. You see, she made this handbag for me. कई बार इसकी खातिर जर्रे जर्रे का जिगर चीरा. Can you believe that this is actually embroidered? मगर ये चश्मे हैरान जिसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती. How beautiful. How beautiful is this? Here, I'm actually holding this up for you. कई बार इसकी, this is a beautiful handbag she made. This is why I am so ravished by our tehzeeb. Our culture is so deeply poetic. Incredible to see how everyone gets profoundly moved by poetry. नहीं जाती मताए लाल o गौहर की गिरा याबी. The price of rubies and pearls always remain high. मताए गैरत o ईमा की अरजानी नहीं जाती. But the price of ego and faith, much easier to negotiate and barter. Essentially, very much like Ghalib, Faiz Saab uses the ghazal as his laboratory. Both examine physical and metaphysical states through the lens of the human condition, human anguish. They splice and incise, they cut and gaze deep, and when they write, they convey things as they are, but they take care to suggest that they are not at all what they appear to be. This share is a profound meditation on that human condition they have been observing. They are not lost souls awkwardly seeking the right path, trying to gain a new identity and become wholesome again. No. They fully understand that they are caught in a world without our making, a world where life is unpredictable and ineffably sad. Loss is inevitable, everything is temporary, and that we will be tested to the core in unexpected ways and at unpredictable and unwanted times. In this reckless, haphazard, chaotic world where randomness prevails, they warn us clearly about what counts and what we must guard against. This is a world where stones are valued more than one's soul and one's faith. Both use precise language to knife through the cobwebs of ambiguity to deliver their searing messages, warning us that the claims to highbrow morality actually represent the lowbrow lust for blood. So be prepared. और मेरी चश्मे तनासा को बसीरत मिल गई जब से. Once my lethargic, my lazy eyesight finally acquired the insight, मेरी चश्मे तनासा को बसीरत मिल गई जब से. बहुत जानी हुई सूरत भी पहचानी नहीं जाती. Even the most well-known faces suddenly look unfamiliar. We are now back to this eyesight insight challenge. Comprehension must not be celebrated at the first flush of apprehension. Rather, the first impressions are merely invitations into serious exploration. Ultimately, though, it's not sufficient to simply gain knowledge through experience and observation. The internal soul must simultaneously be cleansed of ego's whims and distractions to provide the real good. Immorality goes hand in hand with ignorance, morality with knowledge. Another interpretation of the opening line, कई बार इसकी खातिर, कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से, suggests this husne do alam, both outward and inward beauty. Husne do alam doesn't necessarily mean the beauty of the sky and the earth. In the present share, of course, Meri Chashme Tanasa ko Basirat Mil Gayi Jab Se refers to an integration of the two, eyesight and insight, the outer and the inner. Imam Ali was once asked that you talk a lot about your God. Have you ever seen him? Of course, he replied. Man was shocked. He said, really? How? The Imam said, not with my eyesight, but with my insight. This is the ultimate aim of existence, the meaning of life. This is the state of man where deep intellect and spirituality become one through experiencing beauty and in turn doing what's beautiful. And now to my favorite sher in this ghazal. Sare khusro se naze kaj kulahi chin bhi jata hai. So beautiful. Sare khusro se, from the king's head a crown may be snatched. Sare khusro se naze kaj kulahi chin bhi jata hai. Kulahe khusravi se bue sultani nahi jati. Another great Urdu poet, Mir Taqi Mir, pointed out a century earlier, जिस सर को गुरूर आज है यहाँ ताजवरी का, जिस सर को गुरूर आज है यहाँ ताजवरी का, कल उस पे यहीं शोर है फिर नौहागरी का. The crown is a fickle thing, comes and goes, but Shahi, the real Shahi, is not fickle. सरे खुसरो से नाजे कच कुलाही छिन भी जाता है, कुलाहे खुसरवी से बुए सुल्तानी नहीं जाती. This sher to me summarizes the entire question of what defines real Shahi. It's not the crown, but the head that wears the crown that represents the real Shahi. This is in fact a continuing theme of the poem. Beauty, love, knowledge, they're not sufficient by themselves to cure the existential crisis. Well, so does Faiz Saab give us an answer, or is he going to leave us hanging? This brings me to what I mean by the title of my talk, Getting Lit with Faiz. The initial title I had provided Nuzhat was Filling the Existential Vacuum, Faiz Sahab's Prescription. I quickly realized how pretentious it sounded, and why all sensible souls would remain outside a mile's radius of my Zoom talk. So, in the meantime, my daughter Shehrazad came for dinner one evening and used a New York young speak phrase. She said, "Mom, get lit." Well, this fascinated me. I researched it. It describes the look of utter happiness, to be lit up with joy. When something is turned up, something that is amazing in any sense, the act which gets a person excited or hype for an upcoming event. It can also mean being intoxicated with someone or something. And boom, I had the title for this talk, Getting Lit with Faiz. Seems a very appropriate title for a talk coming from Manhattan. Faiz Saab brings extreme joy into my life every time I recite him or read him. I get lit. I hope you agree. And so we come to the last sher, where we find the ultimate solution, the prescription for getting lit in real life. बजुज दीवानगी वहाँ और चारा ही कहो क्या है. बजुज दीवानगी वहाँ और चारा ही कहो क्या है, जहाँ अक्लो खिरत की एक भी मानी नहीं जाती. Except getting intoxicated with passion to the point of madness, there is no other reasonable solution where every reason fails. What is Faiz Saab saying? That the only solution to find some meaning in your life beyond love and beyond beauty, beyond goodness, is through something nobler than to live and die. A rapturous elevation to this maqam-e-shauq, to find a junoon. Junoon mein jitni bhi guzri, bakar guzri hai. This shauq, this junoon, we were warned by Mir दर्द a long time ago, मकाम शौक तेरे कुदसियों के बस का नहीं. This incredible accomplishment remains the purview of man. Angels dare not tread even near that. मकाम शौक तेरे कुदसियों के बस का नहीं. उन्हीं का काम है ये जिनके हौसले हैं ज़ियाद. As the young Amanda Gorman poignantly asks at President Biden's inauguration, who is brave enough to see it? Who is brave enough to be it? If we look at history, many great and brave figures have illustrated their complete immersion to their shock. A place of exquisite beauty and nobility, a place jahan aqlo khirad ki ek bhi mani nahi jati. Stretching from Socrates and Jesus to Hazrat Ibrahim. बेखबर कूद पड़ा आशिक आतिशे नमरूद में इश्क. बेखतर कूद पड़ा आतिशे नमरूद में इश्क. अक्ल है महवे तमाशाए लबे बाम अभी. You know, there's an ongoing debate in our literature about who is superior, man or angels, and why. Here I will turn to Josh Maliabadi, who does two things in 4 lines. He uses the finest example known to man of complete submission to one's mission and the price one has to pay. And he declares this one sublime act as the ultimate, the unquestionable crowning difference between what angels can do and what man is capable of accomplishing. There's only one instant of this utter submission to maqam-e shauq. It can never be replicated or surpassed. And Josh Saab points this out in a profound and a powerful qata. 4 lines. कुछ फूल से तादूर खिले जाते हैं, कुछ सुर्ख से अलम है जो लहराते हैं, और फर्क आदम पे ताज रखने सरे हश्र. To show once and for all the distinction between man and angels, to show it in a crowning glory. कुछ फूल से तादूर खिले जाते हैं, कुछ सुर्ख से अलम हैं जो लहराते हैं, और फर्क आदम पे ताज रखने सरे हश्र. अरे हट जाओ फरिश्तों के हुसैन आते हैं. Ostensibly, there's not much left to say after Josh Saab's magnificent tribute. But I will dare by ending with a final sentence that brings us back full circle to where we started. Let us return for a moment to what Faiz Saab has said. He opens with the stunning lines, कई बार इसका दामन भर दिया हुस्ने दो आलम से, मगर दिल है कि इसकी खाना वीरानी नहीं जाती. कई बार इसकी खातिर जर्रे जर्रे का जिगर चीरा, मगर ये चश्मे हैरान जिसकी हैरानी नहीं जाती. नहीं जाती मताए लालो गौहर की गिरा याबी, मताए गैरतो ईमा की अर्जानी नहीं जाती. मेरी चश्मे तनासा को बसीरत मिल गई जब से, बहुत जानी हुई सूरत भी पहचानी नहीं जाती. और सरे खुसरो से नाजे कच कुलाही छिन भी सकता है, कुलाहे खुसरवी से बुए सुल्तानी नहीं जाती. बजुज दीवानगी वहां और चारा ही कहो क्या है, जहां अक्लो खिरद की एक भी मानी नहीं जाती. Faiz Saab started with beauty, declaring it to be the most lofty and glorious virtue of all. But in the space of 6 shares, he has imparted oceans of wisdom. He has questioned the place of knowledge, goodness, love, Shahi, the quest for filling the vacuum of existential loneliness. He keeps reminding us that even developing insights is not enough. Why? Because there's no end to wonder. And the mysteries of the universe, the Asrar-e-Azal, they keep deepening every time we try to explore. But ultimately, in the last share, to define what real beauty is and why it remains exalted over goodness, love, and even knowledge, it is, he points out, all these virtues are meaningless without action. And the action is to give your heart and soul with complete abandon to your mission, to your desire, without blinking. So in the end, it is action combined with all the other attributes we have talked about of goodness and knowledge and love that really defines beauty. बजुज दीवान गीवां और चारा ही कहो क्या है जहां अक्लो खिरद की एक भी मानी नहीं जाती. So let me end with one of the most profound sentences ever spoken in our history. It is Kufa. It is the court of the ruling governor, Ibn Ziyad, flush with his victory in Karbala. He turns to a chained and bareheaded Zainab bint Ali, and he asks her, how did you find the way Allah treated your brother and your family? She calmly and regally responded, I saw nothing but beauty on that day. This is the definition of beauty, action combined with all the other virtues. So here's to wishing all of you, the LUMS alumni, to find your own maqam-e-shauq and to combine it with action to attain your own beauty. I say to you, get lit with Faiz Sahab. Adabers, LUMS Zindabad, Pakistan Zindabad. Shukriya. Khuda Hafiz.